Hello, I'm the guardian of the hunted, Alexthehunted, and today on Godzilla Month we are taking a look at my all-time favourite Godzilla film, Godzilla Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All That Attack. With a title that long, it must be good. Roll the opening credits. So our movie begins with one of our main heroes, Admiral Tenzin, giving a speech about the Godzilla attack in 1954, and also to basically take a stab at the 1998 Godzilla movie.
The New York attack was Godzilla, right? That's what only American experts claim, but our guys here have doubts.
You know you're gone fucked up when another movie is calling out how bad you were. His speech is interrupted as they receive word that a US nuclear submarine has gone missing close to Japanese international waters. As a Japanese rescue sub goes to take a look, they find something else there.
What's happening down there? What's that on the screen?
Glowing, moving spines can only mean one thing. An awesome opening soundtrack and titles.
Believe it. Can't be happening.
Not gonna lie, but this movie has an awesome soundtrack. Some of the best I've ever heard in any Godzilla film. It's just so badass. So after our opening credits, we cut to our main character, a female news reporter called Yuri. No, not that kind of Yuri. Her name is Yuri. She's a news reporter, but those kind of news reporters that get those non-stories just to fill the last 5 minutes of the news program. And of course she's unhappy and wants to grow her career. And she's a lot less annoying than that news reporter woman that was trying to grow her career that we saw in Godzilla 2000.
If Godzilla did come to your village, think of it. Everyone in Japan would want to come here.
Yes, a flattened crater of where your town used to be. Anyway, as she finishes her news report, she notices an elderly man watching them, and when she looks away, he disappears, like most mysterious old men do. Anyway, that night a biker gang is busy causing trouble when they enter a tunnel, and suddenly there's an earthquake which collapses the tunnel, with the biker gang inside. But was it an earthquake? Because onlookers see something in the rubble.
Oh, jeez.
The next day, the military start their rescue operation by using a drill missile. I understand the drill part, but how are they going to make sure that the missile doesn't explode, killing everyone buried underneath the rubble? But, I'm not the military. Anyway, Yuri gets denied the chance to report on the tunnel collapse, and decides to do the most logical thing when you're denied work. Get blind drunk with her friends. One of her friends finds a book about the 3 guardian monsters that will appear if their territory is threatened, and signs are showing that that is happening right now. Anyway, the next night a group of youths rob a store while having a lake party, and then decide to drown a puppy. No, I'm not kidding. A puppy keeps barking at them, so they decide to drown it. What a bunch of dicks. But it's okay because before the puppy gets drowned, the boat gets overturned and all the dick youths get dragged underneath the water by something. And we soon see that thing come out of the water.
What's that? Huh?
So Yuri's mate Takeda takes a drunk Yuri home, where she finds out that Admiral Tenzo is Yuri's father. And her mother is in the same hole that Disney put all their parents to the main characters in. Basically meaning she's dead. We then get a nice character moment, which is rare in a Godzilla film, which is one of the reasons why I like this movie so much. It has a load of human moments that really make you feel like these characters are father and daughter. And you get the impression that these two really do care about each other. The moments are acted incredibly well and the writing is so good it feels like how real people talk. Anyway, a news report tells us that the Yuris were found tied up in a cocoon web, and the puppy was alive.
Boomer will live.
So the military take a look at the footage from the rescue sub and conclude that Godzilla is back, but question why he's attacking Japan again.
And why should it choose Japan again? Nobody can answer that question. But we have to be ready for the worst scenario.
Couldn't he have picked on some other country?
It's a legitimate question. Why out of all the countries in the world does Godzilla keep attacking Japan? Well, I have a theory on this, and it's completely my theory, so I could be completely wrong. But I think that Japan is Godzilla's territory. It's his land. He thinks there's other Godzillas out there, and when most predators, want to seduce a mate, they get as much land as they can to show how strong they are. So when another monster comes along, Godzilla has to defend his territory. Well, however, he doesn't know that he is the last of his kind. So, he's just defending something that he's not going to get anything out of. Well, unless you count Manila, but Christ, do you want him as a son? So Yuri goes to the old man, who was arrested, and he tells her that Godzilla will return, and that she should wake up the 1,000-year-old dragon who will save the day. And this is really the only problem I have with this movie, because if you've guessed the 1,000-year-old dragon, he's talking about King Ghidorah. Yes, King Ghidorah is the hero of this movie. Now I'm okay with Godzilla being a villain in a movie, but King Ghidorah as a hero comes off as really odd. I mean, it's kind of like Robin teaming up with the Joker to take down the evil Batman. So the legend goes of the three guardian monsters, Baragon, Mothra and King Ghidorah. All three monsters were killed hundreds of years ago, but their souls still live in Japan, waiting to be awoken and protect their land. And the thing to awake them might be coming right now, because on the coast of Bono Island, the same place that the first Godzilla attacked in 1954, is also attacked and crushed. As Yuri watches the recording of the elderly man, he claims that all the souls that the Japanese army killed in World War II have brought Godzilla back to life to destroy Japan for what they did. As that's going on, a man, who I think because he's standing on a rock and tying a tie round a tree post, is about to commit suicide, but the ground gives way before he can, and he falls into a cave and sees King Ghidorah frozen in a cave. So, as screaming victims of the attack are rushed to hospital, screaming about how Godzilla is coming to kill them all, the military do a press release to say it's likely that Godzilla has returned. So Yuri goes to her father to explain about the guardian monsters. And they're not really here to save the people, just to protect their homeland. And the three guardian monsters were revived by the spirits of the Japanese people who died in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Tenzo doesn't believe her, which is odd considering that this is a world where giant monsters do actually exist. And they find out that the government have decided just to stick to surveillance because they don't really believe that Godzilla has returned. Back in the prison with the old man, another earthquake begins, and something comes out of the ground. That's right, Baragon! And I don't know about you, but those big eyes that they've given him make him look like a cute puppy. Oh, aren't you so cute? Aren't you so cute and destructive and deadly? Ugh, come on guy, just don't embarrass yourself. A tiny gun like that against a giant kaiju, you'll do as much damage with that gun as you would with a feather. So Baragon walks across Japan as Yuri heads to where Baragon is going. Back with the military, They are talking about what they should do to deal with this new monster. But as they are talking, a real problem arises from the sea. Oh yeah, the big G is here. And can I just say, I really like the design they went for this Godzilla. Those whited eyes they gave him give him a really scary look. And I love how they kind of updated the classic look. However, I will say that this Godzilla looks a little chubby. And it's kind of funny that the Japanese don't seem to mind when their Godzilla is fat, but as soon as the American Godzilla looks fat, they all have to complain. So as Godzilla makes land, he wastes no time and starts destroying Japan. And for all the death and destruction that's going on, we actually do get a funny yet dark moment as well. So as Godzilla continues destroying Japan, using his atomic breath to give us a reminder of his origins, Baragon appears to be heading towards Godzilla, which can only mean one thing. A fight is soon coming. And that leads me to another thing which this movie does really well, because it points out, yes, giant monsters fighting is awesome, but it also points out, and few Godzilla movies actually do this, that people get in the way of these fights, and sadly a lot of people will die. Can I be in your picture too? So Baragon and Godzilla meet, which means one thing, they fight. But sadly we get some annoying helicopter news reporter commentating on the whole thing. But they don't stay around for the whole fight because they die soon, so it's okay. So the fight begins and Baragon starts off pretty well, trapping Godzilla in a hole and biting hard onto Godzilla's arm. However, Baragon is tiny compared to Godzilla, so it's not long before Godzilla starts beating the hell out of Baragon, even stomping his head into the ground. Yuri and Tanaka catch up with the fight and try to get close, because you know, they have the lowest lane bug of putting themselves in harm's way just to get the next big scoop. So of course the building that they're in gets destroyed in the fight. But they're okay. The same, however, cannot be said for Baragon, as he keeps on getting beaten up by the big G. Until Godzilla finally puts him out of his misery by blowing up Baragon with his atomic breath. So that's one down, two to go. So while we look over some depressing hospital scenes where we see hundreds of people and children injured and dying, very much like the original film, we see a news report about a giant cocoon that has appeared in the same lake that the puppy was nearly drowned in. So Yuri takes a bike and starts following Godzilla to get more and more footage for her news report, as the military finally get into action and scramble their jets. And you can imagine how well that goes. So while Yuri continues to give her news report back at the cave with the elderly man, King Ghidorah starts to wake up. We then cut back to the lake where we get a very nice and kind of beautiful scene of Mothra emerging from her cocoon. Funny enough, this is the only Godzilla or Mothra film that doesn't have the twin fairies follow Mothra around. Which is kind of odd because this movie is very mystical and has a lot to do with spirits and souls. So these mystic fairies would have fitted right in.
Existing weapons were totally useless back then. The defense forces could do nothing to stop Godzilla. So the government decided to keep what happened a secret. If people knew the true story, then our defense forces would have faced ridicule.
Minister, question. How the hell do you keep a Godzilla attack secret? I mean, what do you go to all the people? You go, oh, that wasn't a giant monster attack, that was just the wind. Yeah, the wind. It wasn't a giant monster at all. So Tenzin finds out what Yuri is doing and asks the military to stop her by arresting her. As Yuri realizes that Ghidorah has woken up and wants to save us all. Yes, King Ghidorah wants to save the world. Anyway, Tenzin goes to the front line of the military defense for Godzilla on the main battleship. The crew do look really goofy, all wearing these grey helmets and these grey life jackets. They all wear them all the time, apart from the Admiral. Anyway, they have a plan to use the drill missiles to drill into Godzilla and blow him up from the inside. But before they can act out their plan, both Godzilla and Mothra show up. A side note, I really like this Mothra design. In most films, Mothra looks really fluffy, like a plush toy. Here, she actually looks like a giant monster. A kind of mystical moth, if you would. She looks like Mothra, but she kind of looks actually threatening and intimidating this time. So Mothra and Godzilla begin to fight, and Mothra does a lot better than Baragon did. However, that does mean that she does cause a lot more property damage, when Godzilla chases after her using his atomic breath. She also gets a lot of military people killed by flying in their way. Anyway, as they fight, Ghidorah also shows up. However, it's clear he's really not ready to fight yet. His wings aren't even fully formed yet. So it doesn't take long before Godzilla starts beating up Ghidorah. Mothra tries to come in and help, but Godzilla has had enough of her too, whipping her away with his tail, and then blasting Ghidorah with his atomic breath. And as Godzilla is just about to finish off Ghidorah with another blast, Mothra flies in the way of Ghidorah, taking the blast for him, which also seriously injures her. So after Godzilla just beats up two monsters at the same time, the military think they have a good shot at it, and fire their drill missiles at Godzilla, that they're guaranteed would drill right into Godzilla and kill him from the inside. And guess what? It doesn't work and just pisses off Godzilla even more. You gone made him mad, boy. Actually, kind of funny thing. The director of this movie, and I'm going to butcher his name, Senuku Kenko, is actually an active pacifist. And that's what a pacifist gives you in a Godzilla film. It's pretty awesome. So as Godzilla is busy destroying the military, with her wings on fire, Mothra weakly tries to fight Godzilla again, but Godzilla just blows her up. So with Mothra dead, I think the souls or something go into Ghidorah, reviving him and making him into King Ghidorah. Now the fight really begins, as King Ghidorah blasts the hell out of Godzilla and actually injures him. So as the fight continues, King Ghidorah goes underwater, but that doesn't seem very smart because, you know, that seems to give Godzilla the advantage. Because King Ghidorah is a flying monster, you know, a flying dragon. Your wings are kind of useless underwater. But also the Admiral goes into the water with a sub and a drill missile to try and hit Godzilla's wound and hopefully blow him up from the inside. Yuri finds out what he's doing and begs him not to go, but he says he has no choice since he is the best person to operate the submarine. Anyway, Yuri and Tanaka go up on a bridge to give another report. A bridge that Godzilla soon destroys, leaving them dangling off the bridge. The military, doing a bang-up job as always, accidentally fire upon King Ghidorah, injuring him and leaving him open to Godzilla's attack. So as Yuri and Tanaka fall into the water, King Ghidorah saves them and gets back into the fight, leaving the water and starts firing his electrical beams at Godzilla that doesn't seem to really hurt him that much. Even though that electricity is his weakness, it just seems to piss him off a lot more. So then it's not long before King Ghidorah has used up all of its energy, and Godzilla just blasts King Ghidorah to high heaven, blowing him up, thus killing all the Guardian monsters. However, the spirits all come together for one last attack, using all of their energy to, I think, send Godzilla underwater to trap him there or something. So with Godzilla stuck under the water, Tenzin dives right into Godzilla's mouth and gets eaten. But it was all part of his plan. You see, his plan was to fire the drill missile inside of Godzilla to open up a hole right inside of him. And as Godzilla tries to fire his atomic breath, it just comes out of the hole, causing him to bleed heavily. And then, as he tries once more, he explodes from the inside, looking like it's killed him once and for all. Toho managed to get out of Godzilla just in time. However, he's most likely full of radiation, meaning it's not looking good for him. But really doesn't matter because Godzilla is dead, so all they can do is celebrate. Him and Yuri have a tearful reunion and they salute the fallen Guardian monsters, because they are now safe from Godzilla forever. Or are they? And that was Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah Giant Monsters All Out Attack. My favourite Godzilla movie in the entire series. Just everything about this is amazing. The acting is good. The story is original and actually kind of fits into the Godzilla canon. The monster suits and special effects are the best they have ever been in the Godzilla series and have never been topped. Just everything about this movie is just amazing. I love this movie so much. Just Godzilla, I don't mind being a bad guy, but you know, the only real problem I have is King Ghidorah being the outright good guy of this movie. But all in all, I love this movie and I recommend you all watch it to just see how good a Godzilla movie can be. Now, can this good quality continue? Because next time we look at the final movie of Godzilla Month. Yes, it's the one you've all voted for the most. It's the second time America had a go at a Godzilla film. It's Godzilla 2014. I'll see you then.